wash my soul in the ocean, in the tears of God, I let it go.
Hello, my astrology friends. This is Lada from astrolada.com, and today I would like to speak about a very important topic, the upcoming and actually currently happening already new cycle of Mars, which is starting. Mars's cycles are so pivotal and important. In the ancient world, the Mars cycles will determine the next 2.5 years of focus of energy of concentration for the country, for the individual person. And just to make you realize how important it is, I'm gonna roll back to the previous cycle, which started in around September 2019 and is just completing now. And then we'll go to the current one that is starting on October the 9th. It's already starting. You feel it a month before, and then you feel it for the next 2.5 years almost. So around 2 years, two and something, yes. So this is how long a Mars cycle is, because it will determine where all the energy of the governments is going, where all the force, where all the army, military, and in your personal level, where your own individual motivation, drive, and energy goes. And the cycle of Mars always starts when Mars comes and joins and lines up with the sun. Why with the sun? Because the sun is the king. The sun is the central planet in our solar system where the divine highest vibrations are, where God is, or the Christ consciousness, whatever you call it, where it emanates from there. And every time a planet lines up with the sun from the perspective of the earth, this is when this planet downloads the agenda or downloads the impulse from the higher worlds represented by the sun and download. So basically, the king gives the orders to the soldier and the general. Mars is the soldier, the general. The sun is the king. It aligns up and it gives the orders. And before I start, I just want to tell you that I'm doing just 1 week sale of all my courses at a 30 to 50% lower than normal. I do this just a couple of times a year. So just letting you know, if anyone is interested to learn astrology, my courses, they're multiple. Some of them are 100 hours, for just $200-300. Some of them are just $20-30. Just check it out, because this offer is valid just for a week. So getting back, and we'll cover what the world events will indicate for this, and we'll cover what it can mean for you personally as well, because it's so important, so pivotal. All cycles, when every time a planet aligns with the sun or a planet aligns with another planet, a new cycle begins, and it will give you an idea how the next 2 years, where you're going to be putting most of your energy. So let's go back to the previous one to see how important it is. The previous one happened in September 2019, when the sun and Mars aligned, but Mercury and Venus were also there. So it was like a huge stellium of 4 planets in the sign of Virgo. And it means that the next 2 years, all the focus for the whole world, all the energy that was expanded, energy, the sun, the Mars, the king was giving the rules for Mars, that to the military, to everything, that all the energy will be on Virgo. And what are Virgo topics? Health, illnesses, the medical system, doctors, nurses, the workforce and labor. And because Mars cycles always indicate also where the biggest changes happen. In the ancient world, they didn't use Uranus, Pluto, Neptune. They had one god of change, and that was Mars. Mars was the god of innovation, of radical change. And this cycle indicated huge changes in our health. All the focus of the media, Mercury rules the media because it was there in Virgo, so all the focus of the media, the finances as well, Venus, of absolutely the arts, was on what? COVID and, stay at home, pandemic. And you see, all the topic for the whole world was this. And also, there was a radical change in the labor, in the workforce. It was change beyond recognition. What happened? So many people are working from home. So many people were not working, and still are not working. The workforce, Virgo rules the health and the workforce. And so there was total change. total radical turnaround in those fields, absolute focus and concentration of the media and everything on those Virgo topics. And now the energies is shifting, and you're starting to see this. The next one, the next new cycle of Mars, which joins the sun, will be exactly joined with Mercury. Venus is not there this time. So again, like a stellium in the sign of Libra on the 9th of October, but you start feeling it a month before because those planets are all the time close together. And the new direction is being set then in your personal life and for the whole world, where all the energy will be going. And Mars is exactly conjunct Mercury as well. So Mercury is starting a new cycle with Mars and a new cycle with the sun. So we're having 3 cycles starting in October, simultaneously on the same day, on the 9th, 10th of October. This is powerful. It's not just one programming that's happening by the sun to the planets. It's 2, actually 3, Mercury and Mars align as well. So what does it tell us? Let's speak a little bit about what Libra is. The qualities of Libra is justice, the justice systems, equal rights, the social justice, equality. So there'll be a radical change in the justice system around the world that will happen basically with the courts, the laws, that they'll be, kind of aggressively changing, very fast and aggressively changing, just like the laws for medicine changed so much in the last 2. The medical system changed so much. What drugs are acceptable, what are not, and Mars always involves some aggressive push, some threat. So as you know, there's so much threat. People in the medical system, they're not speaking out about a lot of the things that is happening there. There are a lot of people that are speaking out now, but if you are following non-mainstream media, you'd hear some of the aggressive measures that are being taken for change in the medical system for the past 2 years. And in the workforce, people are being forced against their will. you know that was the Virgo, the previous cycle that we're ending, but now we're starting Libra. So there will be a huge change now on the court system levels, and the Supreme Court is also ruled by Libra. So there'll be a huge change with the laws, with the Supreme Court around the world. So what is considered right, what is considered not right as well. The laws will be changing, radical change for the next 2 years. There will be also trades and businesses, and commerce is ruled by Libra. So a huge focus will go into changing the rules of trades and businesses, maybe even coercive in more aggressive matter as well, because Libra is to exchange something. You give one good, they give you back money or another service. This is exchange, Libra, it's not just relationships, it's businesses, trades, commerce. And they can be like a radical kind of push, more aggressive towards businesses. It's already starting, you can see it. And of course, Mars rules the police, the army. Those businesses might feel like policed and kind of forced in certain ways, but it is what it is. I'm not interpreting. Yes, I have a slant. I have my own opinion, and I'm interpreting it from that opinion. But you can see it's also astrology. Libra is businesses, commerce, trades. Mars is the police. So what's happening? And if you are watching news, you can see in Australia that the so-called tradies or business people and people that trades, in the trades, they've been protesting for the last 1 week. And of course, Mars is anger, aggression. The police has been employing anger, aggression towards them. They've been responding bad. There'll be like rubber bullets being shot at those people, representative of the trades. And trade unions as well. As again, it's Libra, those that try to fight for their rights, but there is a big pushback, Mars, a big forceful conflict and clash between those, and the military and armies will be employed for changes towards the trades, businesses, and commerce as well. Of course, Libra rules peace. And of course, Mars ruffles whatever it goes. Mars is a soldier. So soldiers in the military might be employed to try and keep the peace. Because when Mars starts a new cycle in Libra, peace is not, people want the peace, but they can do it through, they'll do it through aggressive actions. And peace will not be possible, kind of, you'll see a lot of, and also Libra is one of the human signs, so humans will be involved. There'll be a lot of protests, because Mars is protests, fights, strikes, anything where you're protesting, when you're going, when you're trying to fight with something that's happening, and it will be fight for equal rights, fight because which is what Libra is, fight for um, social justice, because people are not being equal anymore. Some people are more equal than others, as you can see that. Some can say, yes, this is, everyone can perceive it in a different way. They can say, yes, some people don't deserve to have equal rights because they're a threat. Others can say, no, every human being, as long as uh, it's not stepping on the rights of others, has a right to have equal rights. So people will be fighting about that verbally as well, because Mercury is there on social media, but the big, like the heavy weights, military and enforcement and securities will be also involved in that. So I don't see things calming down at all with those. You see, till now protests were quite peaceful, but now when Mars went is into Libra, they ramped up because peace cannot be kept when Mars is in Libra. And it's going to be a 2-year process that's happening. People will be fighting for equality, for social justice, everyone on their side of the view, because Mars is radicalizes wherever it goes. And Libra is two opinions. Libra is two opposites, positive, negative, polarity, both polarities, the self, the other, the positive, the negative. It's always two. So it will be even more the clash of opinions. It will be even more extreme because Mars is an extreme planet. It will be even more. Mars is an extremely stubborn planet. It does not see the other person's point of view. So the points of view that have been already radicalizing, that have been already, you know, I'm right, you're right, will happen on a small and large levels, like society, which is Libra, is one of the society signs as well, will split into, it's already split into, but it's gonna further radicalize now, even with more kind of aggression, maybe with more, as you can see already. I don't know if the media is reporting it. I don't watch mainstream media, but I can see what's happening from friends sending me around the world. The protests were first peaceful, now it's millions of people every weekend, and it's not peaceful anymore. That's Mars in Libra that is starting to see. Of course, Libra is also the sign of trying to resolve a conflict. So a lot of energy will go from the governments and from the people trying to resolve conflicts. Because Mars is also not necessarily negative. It can be used for a high way, trying to almost like very to negotiate peace, maybe in a more aggressive matter. But it's going to be constant attempts and constant energy going into that direction. Resolve, conflict resolution. Libra is also court cases. If you know mundane astrology is court cases. Mars with Mercury and the Sun starting new cycles, their court cases will ramp up. On a personal level, people suing each other, but people suing also institutions and all kind of stuff. There'll be a lot explosion of those things. I think it's happening already, but you will see it escalate in the next 2 years. Um, of course, Libra rules partnerships and alliances. On a personal level, it might be more stressful for relationships overall, whether it's a business partner, whether it's a very close friend where you're one-on-one, whether it's a marriage partner. You can see more polarization happening over the next 2 years about that. And again, the pluses and minuses will separate. People with like ideas will go on one extreme, with another ideas will go on the other extreme, and you can see this polarization on a personal level in relationships as well. An agreement is very hard to be achieved when Mars is in Libra. And it starts a new cycle. I don't see that healing, so to speak. But of course, Libra is also uh, um, peace, as I said, and in countries, in mundane astrology, Libra rules the international relationships and international diplomacy. With Mars there can be more aggressive international diplomacy that's happening with one country putting the fork or pressing another country by the wall and saying, you have to agree on that. We have to forge that alliance, or we have to make this deal. But it's going to be with a heavy hand. It's not going to be, okay, let's make sure it's equal for everyone. But there'll be pushback and countries fighting for their rights and equal rights as well. So, but also that's one of the signs, Mars in Libra, that can escalate war and conflicts between countries. And of course, the media, because Mercury is there, will be ramping it up. The media will be strongly touting on that and talking on that. The media will be strongly involved in reporting the radicalization and the split, the two opposing polarities of opinions. They'll probably choose a side, but there'll be strong involvement, but there'll be other medias that choose another side. So it will be a bit of a madness. Um, then and there might be some broken alliances between countries, but you can also see countries getting aligned together for military action against other alliances. I'm not saying a war will break out, but Mars in Libra new cycle, it moves more towards the human interactions than from diseases and kind of the labor force from the previous 2 years. So, an international diplomacy kind of gets on an edge as well. Uh, Libra rules the kidneys. So let's see the organs that might be under most stress under this new cycles. Maybe doctors will notice that, and in 2 years, when the cycle is finishing, they can give feedback if this is happening. But because Mars is more inflammation, acute conditions, kind of such more painful situations, maybe kidneys, kidney stones, or kidney failures, or kidneys painful situation can increase. Adrenal, also the Libra rules the adrenals, the kidneys. These are kind of the paired organs, because Libra is about pairs. So people might feel more stress in their adrenals, more adrenal situations, kidney situations. The ears, the eyes, they're ruled by other signs as well, but everything that is paired has co-rulership by Libra. So you can see more conditions of the ears, of hearing, of the eyes. Why do you think I wear glasses? I have 3 planets in Libra: Saturn, Pluto, and Jupiter. Find it hard sometimes to see things equally. Pancreas is Libra ruled. If you have weaknesses in those organs, like you have to take things anti-inflammatory, eat anti-inflammatory, eat very clean. The ovaries in Libra. People can see kind of a big damages happening in the ovaries, not the paired organs. So, just saying, I'm urinary organs is also Libra, the urinary system as well, which will become more sensitive. And of course, Mars is connected to engineering, industry, manufacturing, machinery. Here I have a little table that I wrote down as notes for me to help me. So we can see the engineering, just like when Mars and the Sun met in Virgo, you saw a lot of manufacturing and engineering and industry production and machinery for the medical system, and so on, and PCRs and everything was all the new technologies to check your whatever passport. This is all for the medical, that's been being created, and engineering, building new facilities, building new because Mars is anything that you engineer, that you manufacture, industry, machinery, has been going in Virgo for the last 2 years. Now it's going to be in Libra matters. And Libra matters is more about social, um, anything connected with the movement of the masses, with the social, with trades and businesses. There'll be, so maybe there'll be a lot of manufacturing now for devices, machinery, and so on, that might, for example, robotize businesses, or that might, for example, so people now with the new passes that are being used, such technologies will be needed. Also Libra is, and Mars is innovations, technological innovations. In the ancient world, there was no Uranus, Uranus is true also technological innovations, but Mars is the traditional ruler of those. So there'll be technological innovations in the sphere of trade, commerce, um, businesses as well, and design. Libra is design and art. I can see innovations in new design, quite innovative and quite more like minimalistic, because Mars is more minimalistic kind of designs and architecture coming up, or more also in a sense that have more martial taste to them, more military, more steely, gray colors, metallic colors, so to speak. And of course, the production of metals, manufacture of metals, and guns, manufacturing of such things that happens. Of course, there will be acts of heroism. Wherever Mars goes, there will be acts of heroism connected to to social justice. There will be There will be created heroes, just like the nurses and the doctors were our heroes when Mars. The heroes is Mars. When it started its cycle in Virgo, they become our heroes. The frontline workers, the essential workers, which is Virgo again, you know. But now there will be heroes, and acts of heroism will be done by people in trades, in businesses, in restaurants and such places, you know, that which are Libra root, where social interaction happens, uh, and commerce, and new such heroes will emerge from those areas, on both sides, which are on both sides of the conflict that is polarized. There will be um, heroes in diplomacy that appear, heroes in fighting for in the court systems, heroes that appear as that win court cases for equal rights of humans. So if you're on the other side for um, removing the equal rights of some people, there will be also uh, heroes that appear and acts of heroism that appear in regards to peace, to negotiation, conflict resolution, and this the case, you know. But of course, Mars is always can indicate um, enforcing of social rules in aggressive way because of Libra, Mars in Libra. Attack on all Libra things as well. Attack on justice, attack on fair alliances and partnerships, on equal rights, attack on peace, attack on trades, businesses, and commerce. Kind of sounds scary, but you know, on a personal level, I always tell you things work out much better than on a collective, because collectively humanity vibrates at a much lower vibration, because you always take the common denominator, the lowest common denominator, which is currently actually around 100. I spoke with Elena Benson from Vibrational Revelations, and till a year or two ago we were 225, which is courage and above. And she says it's horrified me that in the last 1.5 years humanity have dropped to 100. But as we told you, in they measured the future years, and humanity jumps above 500, which is love, from 20, 45, 46. And she was like, I don't know what happens, but suddenly humanity jumps so much. So we'll see what happens around that time. But till 2046, it progressively, because you can jump, you can with quantum technology, you can measure ahead the vibration of humanity, not only in the past. So if you believe in such thing, just giving you this as a um, point of hope, because progressive before 2045 we're already at 400, which is reason. So humans progressively become way more reasonable. Currently we're at fear 100, but our natural vibration till now has been 220, which is courage. We'll get back there very easy. And I think actually Mars, new cycle of Mars in Libra with the sun, can very quickly rise the vibration to humanity, to courage again, to the natural state, because Libra is action-oriented sign, as a masculine sign, and it is a sign of people because it is Libra, it's one of the human signs and alliances. And actually this also shows that one of the biggest achievements you can do, because Mars and Sun always make the biggest achievements, they're the king and the general, they can achieve a lot. You can achieve it in partnerships over the next 2 years. So collaborate with like-minded people, maybe with another or with a couple. Collaborations will give you the fastest progress, and the fastest innovations and progress will happen through combining with another person or a few other people. And so in and sorry, just my I got distracted there. But on a, let's say on a personal level, how where you can have big changes and where you put a lot of energy according to your ascendant sign. You can also check your sun sign. You can also check your moon sign as well. If you're day born, the sun sign, night born, the moon sign. But I would check the three of them, but always the pivotal one is the ascendant sign. Actually, I speak about this in my monthly predictions for 2020 for October 2021. I'm going to be repeating myself a bit, so I'm not going to go too much in depth. You can watch the monthly for each sign that I already have. But here you go. For Aries, the hugest focus for you and the biggest breakthroughs you can have for the next 2 years will be in relationships. They can be innovation, change in relationships. Your partner can become much more active. You can do something in partnerships. You can have a lot of energy that you have to focus, but also to balance conflict and to balance um, situations of aggression sometimes towards you. Also to learn to be more balanced negotiator after all. And a lot of, because a lot of the things that you can achieve the best will be through partnerships. So you'll learn how to make a balance in those partnerships, not to press or force too much, or not to allow others to press you and force you so much, to stand up for your rights with another person. There might be more situations of conflicts in relationships generally throughout the next 2 years, but where you learn to be more assertive or to be less assertive if you're too much, to learn to regulate that Mars energy, not too much, not too little, the golden middle. So you speak assertively without hurting another or without being a doormat. So you learn to do those relationships equally in the right way. But a lot of your activity will be focused there. For Tauruses, it's going to be in your sixth house, the Libra conjunction. So a lot of the focus and energy for the next 2 years will be in work matters. There will be some renewal, some new beginnings starting in matters of work there, and in your health. You can, using your willpower, because both the Sun and Mars are planets of willpower, you can make miracles with your health in the next couple of years. A lot of focus will be there, a lot of energy, a lot of research. Mercury starting a new cycle, reading on health, on such stuff. And also, maybe very likely, a lot of you might switch work and job. Maybe not immediately from October. The cycle is 2 years old, but there will be some big focus there, change workforce, change people that work for you, make some innovations at your work, because Mars Sun is always about innovations. Then the Gemini ascendant, or Sun or Moon, the conjunction is happening in your fifth house, which is there'll be a lot of focus on children if you have children, or on creative projects. Actually, you're gonna have it. It's very supportive for you, Gemini, because it's more pleasant topics. You can also become very proactive in pursuing romantic partners, or pursuing more pleasures, joys of life, and being proactively saying, I want to increase the level of joy in my life. And that can be through sports, that can be through being actively involved with performance, playing game, art, going to more cinemas, to more entertainment, going out more parties, and you might undertake starting some new business that is your own idea as well, because the fifth house is something that you raise like a baby. Or you might have to put a lot of energy into your children, or into your creative project, and have a lot of innovations there. If you're an artist or someone who has their own business, you have a lot of new innovative ideas that you'll start implementing. They'll be your own, and hobbies that appear for you. If you're Cancer, this new impulse and this new great push of energy is happening in your personal life, and not only in October, but for the next 2 years. Property, places of living, relocations, because Mars is very innovative energy, changing something, building something. Mars is to manufacture, to build. You'll be putting energy there. My husband is Cancer Sun, so definitely the whole next 1-2 years we're doing properties, we're decorating, working in the garden. Physical energy you might be putting in your home with garden, but also more conflict can happen with family, with close ones. So instead you have to engage them in some mutual project, so it doesn't alienate you and polarize you because of opinions. Then Leo, Sun, Moon, Rising is happening in your third house, very supportive. This new force of energy, this new drive to get things done is in your third house, which will be about commercial business project, which will be about some written, spoken projects, about learning some new skill. Maybe you'll be perfecting your skills over the next 2 years. Maybe you'll be perfecting your communication. There'll be increased flow of communication already starting, but you'll see it for the next 2 years, that you are involved in a lot more discussions, teamwork, small teamwork, a lot of practical information and skills that you have or quiet, but also antagonism and polarization with teammates, workmates, mates, people on social media, in your immediate environment, relatives as well, that can, because of opposing opinions, that can happen. And you have to learn to navigate your communications with more that you're enough assertive but not too assertive that you antagonize the people you want in your life. Then Virgo Sun Moon arising, it's happening in your second house. So you got to make the big innovations in your life for the next 2 years in your finances and in your possessions. You're going to undertake new, with a lot of drive and motivation, new activities that can transform and that can change and uh, add something new to your financial stability and family stability, so to speak. And your assets, valuables, and investments, some big push for activities happening there. Just be careful that there isn't some kind of strife happening around mine, yours, finances, possessions, or values. Also, there'll be a big innovation and renewal of your values that happens. What you consider attractive, what you consider beautiful, what you consider tasty, even what you consider the resources that you're using for your business. You might innovate them, change them, uh, or have to fight for resources of some sort over the next 2 years, um, and for fair resources. Then if you're a Libra, especially around the 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19th degrees of Libra, if you have sun, moon, or ascendant, not days, degrees. That's if you're born, if you're Libra on the 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, you feel this so powerfully. But all Libras, the new cycle of Mars with the Sun and Mercury is starting in your sign. You are going to be on the forefront of this battle for justice, for equal rights, on this forefront of assertiveness. For you, it's starting a new cycle. Powerful new ideas are going to come to you, and they are already coming for the next month, which you will be implementing for the next 2 years. New beginnings that can be connected to your physical body and health, that you can just, for example, you might get strong impulse and energy and desire to reshape your body, to reshape your posture, your appearance, or to really start working on it. Or if it's your son, it might be connected to your career and your goals, that you have a powerful impulse to start doing something with your career. And also with some important new male coming into your life as well, if it's the son, um, or project that you're working on, putting a lot of energy there on. If it's your moon, powerful impulse to innovate your home, family, to change places of living, that you'll be very much involved with personal property, home life in the next 2 years. And of course, be careful, because you'll be one of the most initiative signs, one of the most sought after signs for the next 2 years, if you have a little bit sun, moon, or ascendant there, because you'll have the best skills as a Libra to cope with those conflicts that I talked in the first part of the video, and to kind of find a middle ground. Um, you know, and as well, there'll be on a personal level a lot of new beginnings that you notice. But be careful, because Mars energy is very hot, fiery. It can be a bit impulsive, but the good thing is Saturn is making a trine to those three planets for you, so you're not gonna be too rash. So I think it's gonna be very constructive, the new things that you start and that you do over the next 2 years. They will implement in your life for a long time. Then Scorpio, for you, it's happening in the 12th house. You'll be leading like a guerrilla tactic fight for the next 2 years. It's not going to be too much force face on, especially in October. You can feel this. You're going to be more like using more subversive tactics. Maybe that's the best way for you, that you're not doing it. And that's something that Scorpio are great for, not face on, but kind of do it in a tactical, planned, not very visible way. That will be your best tactic behind the scenes somehow. A lot of Scorpios can have great success with projects behind the scenes, and you're gonna even get insight and inspiration for the next 2 years, what kind of project for the next in the next month, to start something that you might be doing in the privacy of your art studio, in the some kind of seclusion, maybe something that needs you to be more alone in some way, or even to start some initiative in a faraway foreign country, or it might be connected to foreign travels, faraway places, and so on. um, but also you might notice that there's more hidden enemies for you, and there is some more quiet fight that you are fighting behind your back, that you start becoming aware of someone behind your back, And I would advise you personally, you might be involved with such things, but never do something that is morally compromised. It's like illegal activities and so on behind the back, because there is, for those of you who have already inclinations for such things, there will be a very strong impulse to do something, black market behind the back. But you can actually, you can, because this conjunction gives you the, if it's for fair reasons, um, it might involve some surreptitious action that is for fair equal rights or for fair participation. That can be okay, but there's this, I don't know why, there's this hidden activity that's happening there, uh, or in foreign countries, or behind the table, or a lot of activities that you put a lot of energy in mystical matters, in psychological work, in spiritual work, in retreats and traveling to foreign places for some reason. Okay, Sagittarius, it's happening in your 11th house. A lot of Sagittarius might feel a call to have a social participation in a participation in social activism of some sort for equal rights, because it's in Libra, to join groups, large groups of like-minded people. Depends what side of the argument you are. As you know, we're all separated now into. You can choose one or the other side, but you'll be very actively involved with such groups, and there can be a lot of changes happening to you through joining groups of like-minded people, a lot of um, forward action that's happening and hands-on involvement. Also, you might be at the beginning that you download information about some large goal and big plan of yours to participate in for the next 2 years, that you'll be working on it already in October, even September. You might have gotten like some download for some, because the 11th house is large goals and dreams and plans that involve more people, that will have a wider reach, or some dream and goal of yours that you'll put a lot of focus and energy on for the next 2 years. Plus, 11th house is gains, so you can become very more and business, and again, one of the business house, to reach more clients, to reach more fan base, a wider audience. You might be actively focused in achieving and getting more such, more aggressive almost marketing and business practices, but that can expand your um, field of influence and can expand your gainfulness. Okay, if you're Capricorn, this is happening in your 10th house, new beginnings in your career. You might start some new project that might take 2 years, that you'll be very focused on. You might be, a lot of your energy for the next 2 years will be going in career, and you'll be innovating, bringing something new into your career, into your worldly status will also change. This is the 10th house. And almost for desire, you might make a big change there, because you desire more equalness, that you desire more fairness, in your worldly status. And oftentimes the 10th house is one of the houses of marriages, so there might be some changes there as well, some innovation changes there. And you might notice that there appears like authority figures or public figures in your life, or someone with more power, which is the 10th house, that is very driven, motivated, and if you have a boss basically, or such authority figure above you, that they push you, and they push you and might feel antagonistic. You might even have to fight for rights with a boss or an authority figure during those 2 years. If you're your own boss, you'd feel very driven as a boss to implement rules, orders, changes, strategic and structural changes in your business. You put a lot of energy of that. If you're Aquarius rising, sun or moon, it's happening in our 9th house. You feel something like you're starting like a 2-year period. Some of you might feel like a preacher, that they have a push and impetus to preach the truth. Like they download information, they have to teach others. Of course, you can antagonize a lot of people like that and fight over your beliefs, which you might be someone like a preacher, teacher in your environment, for equal rights, for what is right to do socially, because Libra is a social sign, for social justice. Your spokesman, not the spokesman, more like a moral teacher. And funny enough, being an Aquarius, I woke up this morning thinking I will be making my 2022 yearly horoscopes, and then I'll be this wave of inspiration, 9 houses inspiration. I say, you have to preach about that. And just the things lined up as what Libra means, or just in the shower and thinking, what does Libra mean? What does Mars? And I'm like, okay, I can't help it. And I'm sure a lot of people will hate this video. A lot of people will feel antagonized by it and saying I'm pushing my own agenda, but that's the ninth house. Ninth house sees its certain truth from its own perspective and it needs to preach it or warn others. The ninth house are the prophets or the teachers. So Aquarius, just be careful that you don't become like me. I'm warning you because you can get in trouble. Mars is where you can get in trouble because of your beliefs. But that can be, your beliefs will be one of the biggest push and stimulator and motivation for your actions for the next 2 years. And you can take a lot of inspired actions. You can do some huge teaching projects or educational projects or traveling projects or projects where people, where it's about spreading wisdom, knowledge, or about pre-qualifying. Some of you might just feel a great push to study, learn, to pre-qualify, to take courses. If you want to do that, my courses are just for 1 week, almost 30 to 50% off just now. Just reminding you, if you want to start on this ninth house adventure of higher knowledge, wisdom, where you'll be putting a lot of energy for the next 2 years, remember, uh, that's when I had a Mars Sun conjunction years ago in my ninth house again, and that's when I started studying astrology, and I was like obsessed. A lot of energy there. Or not only, it can be higher knowledge, university degree of some sort, or some project with import, export, foreign people, involvement a lot with foreign people, higher knowledge. Uh, all right, and if you're a Pisces, Sun, Moon, or Rising, a lot of energy you'll be putting into psychological breakthroughs for you. Almost like psychological digging investigation starting already from October, but for 2 years you'd have, and Mars is best suited to transit and activate to start a new cycle in the eighth house because it's called like the breakthrough cycle, where for the next 2 years you can have powerful breakthrough psychological realizations, almost like through a crisis of some sort. Sometimes almost coming to the edge of, you know, to the edge and looking down in the abyss, that Mars can drive you into crisis situations, almost like meeting death face to face. So your biggest fears, but you, because Mars gives you the courage and you face them, and you no longer, and you suddenly you're freed from a phobia, or suddenly you're freed from something you feared all your life because you face it face to face. So yes, crisis, this can instigate a period of where there is more dealing with death, more dealing with uh, matters concerning fears, phobias, extreme uh, uh, situations of extreme power takeover and control takeover, and you'll be dealing. I just concluded as Aquarius ascendant because Mars and Libra met in my eighth house 2 years ago, and my hugest focus was on what's so-called investigation of conspiracy theories, which are all coming true. um, my hugest focus was a death. There was important people, not very close, that died in my life, and I was constantly reading and studying because Mercury is there for you, about life after death, and I feel much more empowered. Death doesn't scare me now, and investigating into the the psychology of power and power struggles, but because power struggles appeared in the whole world and I focused on that, but it can appear on a personal level where you have to take your power back. You know, this is what Mars is, to find the right level of assertiveness when there is a bully. Eighth house is also the bullies, so the tyrants, you know, who take power to an extreme. So to find your right level of assertiveness there. Plus, you can be initiating some powerful new beginnings in with mutual finances, resources, in taxes, inheritances, insurances, where you're doing something to uh, to create more income from others, or maybe you have to fight some battle in regards to receiving money from another that is owed to you, or alimony, or something like that. Or maybe you're starting to put in a lot of initiative in kind of your taxes, how to make it, you know, maybe some big changes there, because Mars is changes. So there you go. Big psychological breakthroughs. Big also a lot of focus might be for you Pisces on sexuality and the power of sex, and even that's conception and such, the very mysterious topics of life, the occult, astrology. which is ruled by the eighth house. Some of you might be starting astrology courses or tarot courses, learning about past lifetimes, life after death, healing, energy healing is the eighth house. So there is, if you want to study astrology, I have my courses for half price for only 1 week till the conjunction of Mercury with the Sun, giving an opportunity if someone wants to start something new, especially Pisces and Aquarius. They have the most indications to want to study one of those arts, the high arts or the occult arts, and to dive into such more psychological, or you might even, some of you Pisces can dive into big work with counselor, psychologist, a healer of some sort, and you can have very fast big breakthroughs to get to the root cause of matters and release the emotional, psychological trauma. Because Mars is like a operation knife that will cut, and very potent in this October, but 2 years for the whole healing process to cut out whatever is in your emotional body as poison and toxin. So thank you so much, everyone. I don't know, you can say it's a bias, but that's what I see in the world. That's how I interpret it through astrology. Thank you for joining me. And don't forget, if you want to take some of my courses only till the 9th of October, till the conjunction of Mars with Mercury, we have most of my courses on half percent, 50% off. Thank you.